My recording's going. Ray, you're recording?
I'm now, yes. I just did a test record, make sure it was working, and it was.
Oh, wonderful. That's awesome.
Thank
Connor.
you. I know, I'm so cool. I'm so cool.
I'm recording.
You gave me a camera.
I did, yeah. Hope you like it.
So, first of all, the camera did require batteries for its light sensor. I was right and vindicated.
I never said you were wrong.
You
I said I didn't know.
No, it was you and your dad who were like, hey, it might not require batteries. No, it needed batteries for its light sensor. And I still haven't loaded any of the flame film into it.
No flame.
But also,
right.
Flame on.
when you gave me the bag, I got this. I noticed something. It fell out when I put it down in my room, but there's a tiny little ISD.
Like a Star Destroyer?
Yeah, like a Star Destroyer. It's like the size of my thumb, and I'm gonna deliver it to you when I deliver these files. But
okay, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a tiny little Star Destroyer. I have no idea exactly what it's from.
Is it Lego? Like.
It is not Lego. It's like two pieces of large plastic.
Is there like a stormtrooper head like embedded into the top of it? And it's got like a string
it looks
on
like
it.
There's looks like a slot where you could put a stormtrooper head, but
I
there's
think
no stormtrooper head.
There's like a big square hole in the middle.
Right on top.
It's from like a Kinder Surprise.
Oh,
and I kept it because it was like a cute little ornament, and it came apart, and I think I lost the stormtrooper. It might have been Darth Vader, but it was something like that. I think it was the stormtrooper. And I was I'm going to put it on the Christmas tree. And then I forgot about it.
And then it fell into your camera bag.
Camera
and it got
bag,
transported like like some kind of disease to a new house.
That bag is kind of gross. I'm sorry. It was falling apart when I got it.
That bag's cool. I don't know what you're talking about.
And it's like the leather is like, it's not like gross, like as in like I got stuff all over it.
It is certainly
falling apart.
But suspicious that you'd say.
I'm not gross. It's not gross. I swear. It's
I don't know, man.
But
I keep up a disease through the
I hope you like the camera.
I haven't used it yet, but yes. It's not. I want to go take pictures outside. It's not exactly a conducive, sunny environment that's warm for me to take photos.
What do you mean?
No, it is
right now.
blizzarding outside.
It's all one color.
Yeah.
White.
Well, it is.
Green.
That was a
it
white
is black and
knuckle
white
drive
film.
home.
That would make sense to try and take photos of the snow.
There you go.
Was it black and white film I gave you?
It is 2 boxes of, I think, T-Max 400 ISO black and white color and negative film.
Ah, okay, cool.
Obviously.
I didn't know that. I didn't buy this camera or the film, audio listeners. It was a gift. It was a gift to me, and then I never used it. So I was like, Ethan actually will get some use out of this.
I'll get some use out of the Minolta XG1.
Instead of
the 2 lenses and multiple filters.
Instead of it just sitting in my room rotting, I'd rather just like give it to somebody who will actually use it.
It's it's like recycling or something.
So you started your photography journey, Ethan? Because you got another camera, right?
Journey. Yes.
Oh yeah, you got 2 cameras, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. One was purchased. A Nikon Z50, which has a couple photos. I have taken some photos with it.
If you can take video on it, can we use it when next time we film Munch Boys or something?
What? So what camera are you currently stealing to film Munch Boys?
Oh no, I have a camera, but I need 2 cameras.
Oh, you want a second angle?
Can you use your phone?
Okay. If you could provide,
space.
if you could provide me an SD card, then absolutely. You could just slap the SD card in. I can set up the camera, hit film, and then okay.
The last Munch Boys we did, I had like a little camcorder, but that camcorder's terrible. So like the second angle is like the lowest quality footage imaginable. Like I could use my phone. I think when we did that video, Ray, I think I used my phone.
Yeah.
Like my phone is like 99% storage, and I just don't feel like dealing with that.
Yeah, so you have like no room. You probably would have more room if you deleted memes, all the memes on your phone,
No, I only have, hang on.
How much does your photos take up?
6,165 photos on my phone.
That's a lot.
How many of huh?
That's like twice the amount I have, and I think that's accumulation of about like 7 years of stuff.
I have like 2,000 songs on my phone as well.
That'll probably do it.
Photos do I have?
And a bunch of podcast episodes that I should probably delete when I'm done listening to them.
Yeah, they're probably save storage. I don't know if...
What is taking up the most of my storage?
Does that... I guess that
This is all good. This is all great content.
You gotta figure this stuff out, right?
I have like a couple whole gigs. That's fine.
Connor, when you and I went on that road trip to Drumheller with our other two friends that one time,
that was fun.
we had to provide like a certain amount of hours of songs to add to like a little disc to use as road trip music, and I struggled to even get like, I think it was an 8 hour.
Too.
I think it was 8 hours total, and so we had to provide 2 hours of music, and I can only provide like 59 minutes from like what I could get.
It was like when somebody says name any song and you just blank. Yeah. It's like I don't even like music. It's not like it's like I've never listened to a song before.
The biggest lie I've ever heard you say.
Well, yeah, but I do like music. It's like shit. Do I even like songs? What do I say? I do.
I'm thinking of that one. There's a video of a guy. He goes up on I think he's on in New York. Goes up on the street, yells at some stranger, and yells at some stranger. She's a lady, and all he says is just name any woman for $1, and she just sits there, panics and blanks, and then leaves later.
I think
just being extremely aggressive, making them freeze.
Have you guys seen the Family Feud episode where they're like doing a rapid fire question at this one lady, and the guy's like, name a yellow fruit, and she's like, orange.
Orange.
Yeah, iconic.
Classic.
It is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately recognized her mistake too.
Yes, the fact that she knew what she did wrong.
It's like, oh,
that was a classic clip.
No.
We love Mr. Potato Head hosting. What's his real name?
That wasn't Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, Jesus.
Steve Harvey, thank you.
I don't think that was Steve Harvey hosting. That was the other one, the first guy.
I legitimately forgot his name. That wasn't a joke.
That's okay. Yeah. I mean, I've seen the Mr. Potato Head one. Yeah, okay. Anyway, how do we intro these?
Well, you start it.
I know it's mine.
Welcome to...
Do it.
There you go.
Don't even get me started. A podcast about presentations about stuff.
Write it down. I wrote mine down so I could always remember.
Yeah, that what Connor said there.
No, you're supposed to. I said it quickly and not good with the intention that you were going to say it again better, and I would cut mine.
Ethan has expressed not wanting to do it, but we're going to force him to do it.
I know. I was thinking about this as well. I'm like, wow, I'm really just impossible to get to go with the script, huh?
This happens like every time we film a video together. It's like with the Munch Boys Cheerios, where you're like, no, I don't want to drink the milk.
I am entitled brat.
God.
Anyway, welcome to Don't Even Get Me Started. It's a podcast about presentations, about stuff. I am Ethan. I am presenting today, and so I've been cursed with saying the words you are currently hearing. Joining me is the guy who does all the editing and is forced to listen to this again, Connor.
Hello.
And the better of the two hosts here, Ray.
Hey.
Hi. Hello.
Today I have a presentation about something that has existed rent-free in my mind for a little while. It's essentially this poster. That's it. Everything sprang from this poster that I saw once, halfway through the pandemic.
Sorry,
21
audio
Lost
listener.
Buildings. What? Yeah, no.
Sorry, audio listeners.
Watch the YouTube video. It's not that hard. Just watch the YouTube video once. Memorize all. There's 26 slides, okay? One of them has 2 pictures. It's 27 pictures that you memorize. Then you can just visualize that as you listen to it later if you want. I don't know. That's what I always do.
What I do.
It's not that hard.
What I do is I have the YouTube video playing on the left screen, and then I mute it, and then I play the podcast on the right screen.
Yeah, please do that. We get 2 views that way.
Yeah.
Please.
That's right. I opened 37 tabs and listened to them all at the same time. Not synced up.
Just to add.
Mm-hmm. I like the noise. Yes, what we were looking at as a poster is called 21 Lost Buildings of Edmonton. I have my notes here about
21.
it. I just realized. This is a book by Raymond Beisiger and Alex Wojtkovic. This is a book by Alex and Ray. It's R-A-Y, not R-A-E. So that's
Inferior.
Oh my God. thinking about posting and writing, trying to use it with RAY, and I immediately got you in like a trucker hat with a handlebar mustache.
Me?
Yeah, it's like, well, I got that image in my head when you were referred to as Ray, R-A-Y.
By okay, I got you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Let's just keep saying his name more so Connor has to bleep it.
Yeah, just keep saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, one said that.
I mean, how many people on the planet are possibly named that, right?
I still can't put it in, though, if we don't have permission from him to say it.
He does not. He doesn't.
He doesn't matter.
So yeah, this is the poster specifically. So it comes from a book called 305 Lost Books of Canada. Lost Buildings of Canada.
I lost Diary of a Wimpy Kid once. Do you think you can find it? Sitting there.
It's probably in the library, man. I'm sure you can find all those books. I can't believe Jeff Kinney's still writing those.
He's gonna do those till he dies.
Yeah.
I was in the bookstore the other day. It's just like a wall of just those. My friend and I, we were just fucking around at the mall, and we just wandered into the bookstore. Yeah, we just like stared at that obelisk to Greg Heffley, and it was like the scene in Blade Runner where Ryan Gosling looks at the big lady, and it's just like, you look lonely. I can fix that. I really wish I'd thought about that joke at the time, because I would have filmed that as a video, but I did not.
So yes, speaking of the Indigo bookstore at the mall, this is where I got that book, because halfway through researching this, I'm like, maybe I should actually get the book, because I'm having trouble finding some of the buildings, which we will talk about. But yeah, I've actually read this book, but it's about Edmonton. There's 305 buildings. God damn it! How many times am I going to say that? 305 buildings.
From
Canada. 21 of them he talks about in Edmonton. Now the book mainly focuses on the architectural design. What this podcast is going to focus on, I don't know. I'm winging it, but mainly about the actual use of the buildings. Yes. First of all, we got to define a couple words in 21 lost buildings of Edmonton. We know what lost is. We established that with Diary of a Wimpy Kid. We know what
just
buildings
can't find
are.
them.
All three of us are in different buildings right now. 21 is a number, but what is Edmonton? Next slide, please.
It looks exactly like this.
It does look exactly like this, actually.
Hey, that's that river that was near.
That's the river next to it. That's right. So this is, I actually learned this when I pulled this off Wikipedia. This is a
good source.
Paul Kane's Great Norwest. So Great Norwest is the title of the painting. I've actually seen it. There are multiple locations where this book is. This is a painting of the Hudson's Bay Fort. This is Fort Edmonton. The bluffs are exaggerated.
I love that place.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
I like the Ferris wheel.
This isn't actually where the fort park is located, but
I know. Okay.
Yeah, they moved it on the other side.
They moved it.
Oh, not just that. They moved it down the river and all around.
Okay,
yes,
yeah.
I learned that this painting was public domain off of Wikipedia. But yes, so Edmonton is a place on the North Saskatchewan River. First people here probably from about 12,000 years ago. Let's see. I wrote it down.
That date keeps getting pushed back older and older.
And I'm so happy about it.
Give it 2 years, and that date will be like 1,000 years before that.
Yeah, no. 22,000 years ago. I'll bet the Polynesians beat anyone across the Bering Sea Bridge.
Well, I wouldn't have gone. Never mind.
I believe in the boat people.
I misunderstood what you said.
The ability, like, you telling me you've never been with your boys on the shore, you just throw a piece of wood in the river and been like, shit, that floats, let's go for a ride. People do this all the time. You just go in the water. It's fun.
We don't go outside our house, so I think that's the first
I'm actually afraid of water.
Okay, well, that's a skill issue.
Should do an episode actually on colonization of the Americas.
That would be really good.
I
would.
We
can talk about the footprints.
Happy to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's literally my job.
Written down here in my notes. I don't actually have much of a background in Native American peoples around this area. I think I discussed that when we talked about Louis Riel in my last episode. But listed here from Wikipedia, First Nations in the area of what is Edmonton, which is now a city in Alberta. We got Cree, Nakota Sioux, Blackfoot, how do you pronounce that?
Do you want to send it to me?
It's in the, if you have the link to the presentation, all 6 of them are in the notes for the second slide.
Oh, there's only 6?
The Ojibwe.
There's
certainly more. This is
this is the Wikipedia one.
This is Wikipedia, which specifically says include, but I also added potentially, but not limited to.
There's freaking notes. I didn't know you could do this on slides.
Yeah,
you can't present with them though. You have to like double it.
Well, yeah, you can't present with them, like show them on the screen, but you can open a second window and have them, which is what I have.
I see that. I believe it's.
So I can.
Oh, go ahead.
I can't call it up, so.
Sorry, I can pronounce Cree, I can pronounce Nakota Sioux, I can pronounce Blackfoot, I can pronounce Ojibwe, and I can pronounce Dene Sioux.
Dene Sioux.
But I cannot. But the one with the T, the Tsutina, something like that.
I believe it's Tsutina.
Okay.
Something
Thank you,
that.
Ray.
Yeah.
You're so good at this.
Tsutina. So the T isn't pronounced at the beginning. So it's just Tsutina. Okay.
However, unfortunately for all of these groups, the first white boy in the area was, I have in my notes, first white boy, all caps, TM. Actually, his name is on a large, important road in the city. Do you guys want to hit me with guesses?
Probably the Yellowhead.
You said road?
Yellowhead, so Yellowhead's based off of Yellowhead Cache, Yellowhead, or Tate Jean, because he was, I think, I guess half European, half Indian, but that's why he would have been French. I don't actually know, but he had a cache on the other side of the Yellowhead Pass, which was named for him. Generally, he guided a lot of early Hudson's Bay traders trying to cross the Rocky Mountains through the Yellowhead Pass, which bears his name. So it was not the Yellowhead. I didn't know that.
I said it as a joke, honestly. I just threw out.
I mean, you're guessing.
That couldn't possibly be named
after. No, that's
okay.
Henday,
that
is a
it?
major road through Henday. Yes. Yeah, that's right.
I knew that was the answer. I was pretty sure that was the answer. I just threw out the Yellowhead. He's like, that can't possibly be named after a guy.
It is. Well, I mean,
no,
it is named apparently.
I
didn't know that.
It's a guy. Yeah, but yes, Anthony Henday. Most likely, it's not exactly confirmed where he went, but he probably traveled down the North Saskatchewan, arrived in the area probably in 1754, exploring for the Hudson's Bay Company, everyone's favorite department store chain.
That's still so funny to me that they're the same company.
It is the same company.
I thought it was a joke the first time I learned about that.
No, that's real.
Maybe I should send you a photo. I know you're not going to edit it in because you're like 5 for 5 now and not editing in stuff in post. But the downtown on a building on Jasper Ave, there's a little plaque that talks about how the Hudson's Bay Company was given royal assent in 1609 by Charles II, the Charles before the one we have now, 400 years ago. Their land grant was for the entire watershed of the Hudson's Bay, which is kind of why they're called Hudson's Bay Company. This watershed area is known as Rupert's Land. I think the kid of King Charles II was Prince Rupert, which is why it's called Prince Rupert Land. I don't actually know that. But the watershed for the Hudson's Bay is a massive area. We are currently sitting in it, all 3 of us, right? So the North Saskatchewan drains all the way to Hudson's Bay out by the Manitoba border with the Large Bay. And so does a massive amount of area. This was what kind of made the Hudson's Bay Company such a massive company. They had access to so many native bands and fur trading area. And it was just a monopoly.
We love beavers.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I love hats that make me go insane. So,
but that would make a cool villain for Batman.
It would. You could call him like a crazy ball cap guy. Fort Edmonton, pictured, and this is an artist's dramatization. We'll eventually go to the next slide. 1795, it was established first by
do I
the
actually
Sturgeon
hit to
River.
the next slide?
Don't actually yet.
Oh, okay.
it's closer to modern day Fort Sask is where the first one was, but it was later moved to this location, which is again dramatized. We can see on the next slide. Go now, do it this time. Yeah, there you go. And it was recent. This is one of my favorite things to do to Connor is show him photos of things that are old.
I can confirm.
Because it ruins him emotionally. So on the left, let's see. So on the left, this is told me the third Fort Edmonton. That makes sense. There were 3. I think generally because they were abandoned and then people went back and forth, depending on how good the fur trading was in the area, on whether or not the fort was actually profitable. So this is a photo taken from, on the left, I should say, of just a dude absolutely risen up the cameraman here in the center frame. And up and to the right, that is where the Fort Edmonton was in the last slide on the painting. And so this photo was taken in 1871. During the time, there were expeditions going across into the Northwest, as it was called. I think I established in my last episode what the Northwest was. It's anything that is west of Toronto, essentially. And
most of Canada.
During this time, we're performing expeditions to try and find a route for the railway, which we can see arrived in the photo on the right, which was taken around 1910. In between these two photos, Edmonton was kind of born. So Edmonton became, well, I should say Strathcona was more of a real settlement, right? Edmonton, the fort, existed on the north side of the river, but Strathcona, when the Calgary and Edmonton Railway arrived, a subsidiary of the CPR. So when the CPR arrived in 1891, Strathcona was built around the railhead on the south side of the river. And then towards 1910, the coolest bridge in the city, the high-level bridge, was built, which is where we can see this photo of the legislature of the province on the left and the same fort on the right.
I bet that would make a cool set in a show based on a video game.
Yeah, in maybe 100 years from now, there'll be a lot of cool vines on that building.
They really designed. That's what they were thinking of when they built that building. It's like, I bet Pedro Pascal would look pretty cool next to this thing.
For real.
I don't know if I told you guys this, but they were filming on one of the streets just off Jasper Ave, like north of it a little bit, where my friend was living. And
we're talking about the Last of Us show, by the way.
Yeah,
it was filmed in Edmonton.
Local to the area.
That's our
Sorry to interrupt, Ray.
No, it's okay.
It's the big thing right now.
I felt that was important context.
But they were telling me about when they were setting it up for like the majority of the set that they kind of like refurbished and such. Like they just turned over a few cars and such. So basically the environment of our streets were dirty enough to pass as a post-apocalyptic city ruin. So
you'll love to see it.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine they added quite a lot of CGI to that as well, but
I think they did. I don't know which scene.
I don't know.
I think it's in the second episode.
I know there's a photo of the legislature from the show, which it's absolutely covered in vines, which is hilarious. But yeah, no,
that's what we want to happen.
So that must have been CGI. But yeah, this was one of my favorite photos to show to Connor on the right the other week. I was like, yeah, the actual fort survived until like I think it was the 20s is when the final one was demolished, and
just
that's
doesn't
it right
sound
there.
right in my head. It just I know it is,
fur
but
trading fort.
That's supposed to be like 500 years before. Not quite that much, but it like it just those two buildings aren't supposed to be in the same era.
It's in the wrong age, right? We're well into the Victorian era here, and here's something from the age of sail, the age of exploration, the concept of like fur trading and everything.
It's
and
like the meme where a cowboy and a samurai and a pirate could have all faxed each other.
And they all went to a bar right after.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, that sounded like a setup to the pirates. You know, they all went to a bar. No, there was no survivors.
So a pirate, a samurai, and a cowboy all walk into a bar. Who faxes each other first?
Yeah, I don't know. Which one would have access to the fax machine most likely?
Probably the
Let's
samurai.
see
Maybe
here.
the samurai. Pirates are anti-technology, and cowboys are cowboys.
My Luddite pirates.
That's true.
So yes, Edmonton, it's a city. It became a thing eventually. It would get a couple nicknames. Gateway to the North is one of them. Since the Calgary and Edmonton Railway, especially once it crossed the North Saskatchewan into Edmonton proper, because it kind of grew up as twin cities before we ate Strathcona.
Yummy.
It was the northernmost railhead on the Calgary and Edmonton Railway. Now, the Canadian Northern and the Grand Trunk Pacific would come in from the west and provide more rail service to the city. Pretty much around the same time the high-level bridge was built. But it was the most northern railhead on the entire continent. Provided a lot of great access to the north for, just more resource exploitation. I'd probably do a podcast on how the country is like 3 mining companies in a trench coat is something I've heard once from a very good podcast called Bottlemen.
Yummy uranium and coal.
Where did
Kinda.
Where did the name of Strathcona come from?
Lord Strathcona was the name. The title given to what's his name? Very important shareholder in the construction of the CPR. His name was
Like the rehabilitation where you push on the lungs kind of
No.
CPR? Okay.
no, the Canadian Pacific Railway.
That is not the same thing at all.
No, it is not
It's
not. Isn't it like cardiopulmonary resuscitation? Isn't that what CPR stands for?
Sounds right. I will look it up real quick here.
Whatever. Edmonton, gateway to the north, very important. Northernmost railhead on the continent. A lot of people thought it'd be a great way to get to the Klondike. When that happened in 1899, it wasn't really. Most people ended up taking the ferry up the coast to Skagway and over the divide there, over that pass, whose name I'm forgetting for some reason. I have the book next to me. I'm not going to open it.
You're right. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation.
W.
Yay!
Another important thing here was Blatchford Field. Blatchford Field, or the old city center airport, was the first licensed airport in Canada, Wikipedia tells me. It is very important for transporting stuff north, because when you don't have the railway yet and you have these cool things called airplanes in the 1930s, you can get just pretty much anywhere into the north. The concept of the bush pilot, legendary stuff. Very cool.
What's a bush
And
pilot?
so you know how in the middle of nowhere you kind of got to fly a plane there sometimes? With like, you ever seen the guys with like the small planes landing on a beach in the middle of nowhere?
No, I haven't.
Anyway, next slide. Hey, cool photo. This is what Edmonton looks like today. I'll bet the photographer is really talented and everything.
Oh, is that you?
Did you take this?
I took this photo with my Pixel like
That's
2 years ago
amazing.
on
Oh,
the
2
Pixel
years
2.
That's a really
The,
good picture, actually.
It was definitely retouched by Google's like AI thing automatically.
Gross.
I can tell.
It,
It's
all it did was boost the greens. But yeah, hey, look, it's Edmonton today. There's a couple buildings in here you may recognize. Over in the left in the foreground, we got the nice new Walterdale Bridge. On the right in the foreground, we got the old Rossdale Power Plant. We got the baseball stadium that everyone forgets is in the city. On the right in the background, in the far right in the background, that red building's Canada Place. Just to the left of that with the dark roof that's slanted, that's the Fairmount Hotel McDonald. And then very prominently in the center, very tall, we got Stantec, and then behind it being blocked out is the hotel that I forget the name of. It's the Marriott. Then behind all of that would be the Ice District, Rogers Place, the Rams somewhere in here, lots of other very tall buildings. You can't even see the CN Tower. But yeah, hey, lots of buildings.
Can you see? You can't see the conservatory from here, can you? Because I always, whenever I go to the conservatory, I drive by this. Yeah, the Mutart.
So the Mutart would be off to the right down the river around the corner.
That's what I thought. I didn't think you could see it, but I always drive by this on my way there.
Actually, it would have been a good idea to get a photo from this area that included the legislature. No,
I might have a.
I'm sorry.
Connor!
That was an accident. I'm sorry.
I might have a picture of it potentially, because part of my job was like landscaping, like taking pictures of any sort of language and such. But I just took some randomly here and there while I was doing the work. It's too much work to go get it now, but I'm just saying I might have a picture of it.
Yeah, that's fine. Just the legislature and the high-level bridge, which from the last slide, they're just off to the left out of frame, essentially. And yeah, hey, look, it's modern Edmonton. I can't believe it. We're here. But yeah, now that we kind of know what Edmonton is, we'll get into some of the buildings from the actual topic of which is a poster. Now that we're 30 minutes in or something.
Spoiled it.
Hey, look, first building. So these are ordered kind of in the way they were on the poster. It's not the same way they're ordered in the book. But yeah, here's our first one. It's the Gem Theater. You probably haven't heard of because I hadn't either, to be honest. This is on Jasper Avenue, way down the east end, sort of where it curves to the north to follow the river. It is one of the oldest, or it was, I should say. It doesn't exist anymore. That's kind of the point of this, is all these buildings don't exist anymore. One of the oldest surviving purpose-built motion picture theaters. It was constructed in a date that I didn't fucking write down. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. I'm so bad at my job. It's just inside the book here.
We take research very seriously here, folks.
How did I not write the date it was constructed down in? 1913.
This happened last time you presented too.
How did I? Yeah, no, I forgot to write down all the dates for the goddamn fucking heritage minutes. 1913, folks. So this was a very important building. Again, very old surviving motion. Shut up, Connor. Very old surviving motion picture theater. Motion picture theaters are very important in that time. You know, that's where you go. You don't have the big Cineplex then. You got your tiny little one theater. I think there may have been two in here.
So you can watch the new Marvel movie.
That's exactly right. So it would survive. I believe it would become... I'm live reading from the book. Yeah, so this is very close to Edmonton's Chinatown. It would become an important theater for showing Chinese language movies, actually, later in its life. But unfortunately, and I have this written down at least, and I don't know much about it, but in the 2000s when they were building Canada Place, the large red building we saw off to the right, it's a large, it's basically the bureaucracy building. You go there if you need to get a new passport. It's a bunch of Service Canada stuff and other such things. But Canada Place was pretty much built on a large section of Chinatown, which was, eminent domain, and then built this massive building on top. So the actual culture of Chinatown took a hit there, and more of Chinatown itself sort of moved northwards up 97th Street to where you'll see a lot of the that big gateway arch and all the shops, the Chinese shops and everything. It moved away from this building, and from that point it fell into disuse, started falling apart, even though I don't know, I think it was designated, was this the one? No, this was not the one. It may have been. It may have been designated. A lot of these buildings were designated as like heritage sites, which is supposed to mean that they're going to be taken care of and like renovated so that they don't fall apart. Unfortunately, it fell apart and did not get renovated. Mold, holes in the roof, and eventually it was deemed structurally unsound and demolished in 2010, which is very unfortunate. And it'll be talked about, but. And hey, big surprise, my favorite podcast, Well, There's Your Problem, did something similar to this called, I think it's literally episode 77, called Historical Preservation. They talk about this kind of stuff. It's like, okay, you've got this thing, you want to preserve it. Unfortunately, that costs money, right? And, that's the big be-all, end-all of everything. Unfortunately, that costs money, so we're not going to do it.
Is the money...
So there's...
Oh, sorry. Where does the money come from?
Well, if you want to keep, so for example, if you wanted to keep this building, which I think, if it was a heritage site, which again, yes, it was a Edmonton heritage building. So if Edmonton had designated a heritage building, maintaining it would have gone to the funds of the municipal government in Edmonton. Now, if they could get more, like a grant from either the provincial or federal government to get that money, that's nice. So, for example, a National Historic Site in Edmonton. How do I not know a National Historic Site in Edmonton? There has to be one.
What about the balls? The balls on...
the balls are an art display. That would be a different kind of thing. Though there should be a National Historic Site. You're absolutely correct.
They're being covered right now. I haven't seen them.
I drove by it the other day. They are uncovered.
Drove by
They're
Free
uncovered?
the balls.
today.
The balls are free.
They freed
They're not
them.
even fenced in anymore since the guy went in there.
Oh, right. I forgot.
Shout out to that guy, by the way, doing a thing that everyone, like, how did no one think about doing that? Those balls have been there for like a decade, and he's the first one. What a champ. What a fucking trailblazer.
People probably have done it before. They just didn't get stuck.
They just didn't get stuck like idiots.
Yeah.
Is that what happened? Is the guy got stuck in there?
He got stuck. Yeah, you had to
That's
call.
amazing.
It was a whole thing
They
to
had
get him
to-
out.
Had to call. I'm actually going to go to my National Geographic National Historic Sites list to see if I can find literally any National Historic Site in Edmonton. I don't know if there are any in the Edmonton area. Come on.
Is the Ram not one? The old Ram, not the new Ram.
No.
Or the Ledge, like, or that house that's next to the old Ram that I can't remember what it's called.
That house might actually be one. Hold on.
I don't remember what it's called. I should know that. I just do not.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't remember that either.
I definitely don't know.
Government House. Government House is a National Historic Site because it's listed right here in my book of National Historic Sites. So, for example, Government House is a National Historic Site. Maintained, it gets federal government money for its maintenance. I don't actually know what Government House is about. I'll do a video. I'll kind of lead into it at an end. I'm going to do a video? Podcast thing. One of these.
Broadcast?
Do one of these about the actual surviving good heritage buildings in Edmonton, which will probably come after the next one, which will probably be more heritage minutes. But yes, we can move on to the next. So yeah, to answer your question, money comes from the taxpayer. Depending on which government is giving it, depends on how much priority we put into it. Government House will get federal money for its National Historic Site designation. This, however, would have only gotten municipal money, which is less money because it's a smaller area that you're actually funding from the tax.
Right.
You kind of get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Next slide. The Edmonton Public Library. This was not the first one. It was just the first major one downtown. In the background there, you may recognize that turret with the black roof. That is the Hotel Fairmont MacDonald. Again, talking about these buildings that still exist. And we'll probably talk about that one in a separate episode. This location on 100th Avenue and 100th Street, again, right next to the MacDonald, there is no university library there today. I think it's instead like a transit hub. This was known as the Central Library when it was built in 1923. Libraries are important. They hold books. And an important thing about this one that I wanted to bring up came from a Carnegie Library grant. So in the early 20th century, sort of in 1920s era, a lot of big barons of everything. So, you know, they own people, the kind of people who just own stuff like Andrew Carnegie or people whose names I'm forgetting because really they're just capitalist assholes. No, this is a shit president.
Andrew Garfield?
But in this time, lots of people with lots of capitalists who had insane amounts of money for the time wanted their public images to look better, and so they did things like just donating it to public infrastructure. And I had no idea that this was as extensive as it is. I thought Carnegie libraries, and I think there's other libraries sponsored by other capitalists of the time scattered around both the United States and Canada, because Andrew Carnegie was not Canadian. He was an American capitalist. I have no idea exactly what he owned. It was I think it was mostly steel, like steel factories and stuff like that.
But they would just
take a grant. What? No, like steel, the metal.
I know.
Okay. I didn't.
Doing a similar.
I didn't know if you knew.
That's a fair assumption to make.
It is. He would steal factories, and therefore that's how he got rich. I mean, pretty much.
Oh, no.
But yes, basically Andrew Carnegie, or a foundation under his name, basically gave a huge sum, or probably not huge, a measly sum to build a building and buy books for a library for Edmonton. I think this was probably the first public library. Well, no, it wasn't the first public library. It was certainly a Carnegie library. I know that apparently Calgary got one before us, which it was a larger city at the time. In 1966, This building was replaced by the downtown location, the Centennial Library, as it was called, which in 1966 you built a Centennial Library to celebrate 100 years of Canada. And so this one was torn down at that time, and then that Centennial Library was torn down and replaced, well, not torn down, but completely renovated and overhauled into the Stanley Milner, which we know as the lovely, I think everyone memed it as like a future tank. You remember that when that building was unveiled, and everyone was like, why does it look like a flopped over Rubik's Cube? A perfect, like,
Just look like that.
like a spaceship.
I don't remember that, but I think you've told me about it.
I mean, it kind of does look a little weird, but on the inside, it's a lovely, lovely library. So.
That building's sick.
Oh, is this the one that's on Jasper Avenue? That's like near it?
Not the.
Oh, this is the big one downtown.
Near Jasper. It's right next to City Hall, right off the plaza. It's the big library.
Yeah.
It's a very cool library.
I've tried to get. Okay, I had to do some stuff there as well. And I couldn't figure out how to get into the library. There's 4 sides, and there's a bunch of walkways, and there's a bunch of doors. I couldn't get to any of them, or like figure out how to get up there, or at least if when I did, the doors were not opened. And so it took me like 20 minutes to actually find the door to get into that library, which is...
It is a weirdly laid out building.
It's not. It's just you just go to the northwest corner, right next to the now LRT station, and it's like 100th Street. See, now you know that because you did get in.
I did, yes. I didn't remember exactly where, but northeast does sound correct. Or northwest?
Northwest.
My bad. Northwest.
Yes. That's okay. It's fine.
Basically the same thing.
It is a big cube. It doesn't have a very obvious entrance like this one does, which, again, this book is about architecture. I don't really care about architecture. I think architects should take a fucking chill pill on their ego.
You only get the hottest takes on this show. Do you think that this old library had a 30-foot tall LED screen where they could show dinosaurs?
That's it depends on how much money Carnegie gave them. I know LED screens were a little difficult to procure at the time. When was it built again? 1923.
Probably
that
had
was
a couple
pretty cool
lying
thing.
around.
They had the space one up when I was there.
I saw
most
that
recently.
yeah.
So there's a space one, there's a water one, and a dinosaur one that I know of.
When I was there last time, it was the space one.
Was this for the RAM you were talking about, or?
Oh, and I went to the RAM last. They're right next door, so.
Oh yeah, they're right next door. But yeah, the library has a big screen, right? You saw that when you were there, right?
Yes, I did.
We will take you to the
screen
library,
that all the kids were playing at, that me and Connor just kind of magnetized to.
Yeah, pretty much. That I remember.
When I say that Ethan and I will take you there, I mean Ethan will probably drive us, and then you will supervise us as we run around.
You can't expect me to supervise you guys. I will also be lost, probably.
Until Ethan inevitably gets drawn to the train books, and I inevitably get drawn to the dinosaur books.
Which are conveniently next to each other.
They're right next to each other, yeah. We went there once after the RAM with my brother, and he just had a nap while we were reading those books.
There is a nice, there's a few, nice seating areas on the first level as well.
It's really nice,
so
yeah. I really like that library.
Mm-hmm. I need
to go there and make stuff.
I would like to go there. I've only been there once, and it's for work, so it's hard to leisurely walk around when you're, walking and you're wanting to go back home because you didn't drive, you walked.
Do work. Yeah, the library is really cool. It's got a lot of... There's 3D printers, there's t-shirt printers there. There's a whole bunch of computers. It's really good, space. But anyway, just before we move on to the next slide, I should say, just after slamming architects, I should say that Esther Marjorie Hill, the first female architecture student to graduate in Canada, was one of the designers of this building. But anyway, we can move on now. Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Next slide. The Edmonton Auto Spring Works.
This looks like a Fallout screenshot.
It looks like... Wait, what screenshot? For what?
It looks like a screenshot from Fallout.
I was going to say, this looks like a screenshot from the Walking Dead video game, the mobile game.
That too.
Yeah, it is a very artsy film photo. This is mainly what the building was famous for, is that a lot of people liked taking photos of it, which I can support. I will note one important thing about this. Do you notice the wires at the top of the screen?
Like the
Yeah.
line, the electricity line.
Yeah, the lines following the road.
Yeah.
Those are trolley bus wires. We used to have trolley buses on
What?
Jasper Ave, which is where this was located. They were torn out in 2009. A lot of the posts along Jasper Ave, you can kind of see it, how they used to support trolley bus wires.
Oh.
There's actually a trolley bus in a photo later in this presentation. But yes, the Edmonton Auto Spring Works. It would have been 100 this year. Cool, thanks, because I didn't write down the date it was built, so now I know it was 1924. Essentially, 1924, you're starting to see cars go everywhere, right? These newfangled automobiles. We got to learn how to repair them. We got to take out all the old stables that used to be around the city. We don't need those anymore. Who needs horses? Rich people, apparently, not the poor. But
modern horse goers would probably disagree strongly.
yeah, I don't know. White Mud Equestrian Stables. I don't know. That's just the one equestrian place I know in the city.
One outside this, I mean, if you want to own
There are
horses, it's
others,
definitely a
but-
life of debt and investment and a lot of
And you get to be bullied for being a horse person.
Exactly.
Yep.
In all levels,
I should
except
notice.
physical.
I
am
did
a
source some of
horse.
these photos. I kind of want to make sure this one came from a profile called Clinton's Canon on Flickr, because this is an actual photo by a living person, as opposed to the last two, which were, probably taken by ancient deities. The Edmonton Auto Spring Works. Now, from what I can tell, they actually focused on just the springs of the cars. It's kind of interesting as opposed to a modern shop where, well, some shops will focus on body works and some will focus on engine works. But from what I can tell, this auto shop just did springs because that's what it says. It does what it says in the tin.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in 2010, due to, again, the neglect of the building, because, you can tell in this photo, this was taken pretty, at least soon before fire eventually took it in 2010. The building was falling apart. From what the investigation found was that one of the walls actually collapsed, broke some wires. The wires started a fire. Very unfortunate. It was pretty much a favorite of photographers. That's pretty much it. Which, I mean, artists can suffer. That's fine.
We don't need art.
Yeah, that's right. So that's about it. That was the building. Next slide. The agency building. I don't know too much about what actually happened in the building. From what I can tell, it was owned by an insurance company. It was on very valuable land here on Jasper Avenue. We can see two photos, both from times that I don't know because, again, I didn't write them down. God damn it. But yeah, the main reason for the popularity of the building, you can tell from the big shell sign, is the neon signs that went on it. So right next to I think the Capitol Theater is still standing, isn't it?
I don't
Isn't
know.
there still a
do not
Capitol
know.
Theater on Jasper? I think there is.
Is it near the neon sign museum? Is that where this is?
No, this is not near. So this is Jasper Avenue. Neon Sign Museum's up on like 104th.
But it's close to
So it's
Jasper
north
Avenue.
3 Street. It's close, but it's not exactly there. But yes. So the agency building, which you can kind of see the big fat square that says agency building just beneath the shell sign. It was mainly popular for its large neon signs. It was just a very simple office building with a single stairwell built in a date that I didn't write down. It's in the book. Come on, read the book, idiot.
Was it the Capitol
1912. Sorry?
That's 100 years after 1812. Did you?
That's right.
That's true.
What theater was it called again? The Capitol Theater?
So the Capitol Theater, which is in the photo on the right? You can see the big, the nice neon sign.
Yes. It looks like it moved to the other side of the river. There is a Capitol Theater, but it's not where
I
it
feel
is.
like
Where it was.
I remember that, but yeah, probably this Capitol Theater building is demolished too. Yeah, big surprise. Because you need to modernize your city, right? You can't just have an office building that's 6 stories and like as thin as the agency building. You can really see how thin it is. It's only those 2 windows wide on the right photo, and it has a stairwell. No, it's built in 1912. We need to modernize, and so it was demolished in I want to have it right here. 1972 to make way for a larger office block on the site. Next slide. Y'all like classical architecture?
Is this building not still standing?
What? No, this building is not still standing. It looks similar, and there is a similar building standing on it. Oh, I should, yeah. So Jasper McDougal.
Sounds familiar.
There are lots of places named McDougal. He was, I think, an early settler in the area. This is the Imperial Bank of Canada. It
Darth
merged
Vader
later
lives
with the Canadian Bank of Canada to make the Canadian Imperial Bank of Canada, CIBC. And the CIBC building today stands exactly where this building is standing in this photo. But it's not the same building. Yeah, it was a bank, big bank, very impressive bank, built in a date that, again, I didn't write down. I hate myself.
The next time we take a break, you should just like get all the dates, or you can. Just
I'm
keep
not
going
to do that.
Yeah.
Makes the best jokes are made of repetition. But yes, built in 1907, big, classical. I think they wrote in the book a palace to capitalism, using everyone's favorite Tyndall stone for the columns. Everyone loves Tyndall dolomitic limestone from the Selkirk member of the Ordovician River Formation. Thank you, Wikipedia. Yeah. But yes, this stone's used everywhere in Canada. This limestone it's used in the columns, probably used in a lot of the blocks as well inside the actual bank. Yeah, fuck it. Let's go through the list. Canadian Parliament buildings, Saskatchewan Legislature, University of Saskatchewan Federal Public Building in Edmonton, Canadian Museum of History in Gatineau, Quebec, Manitoba Legislature, Banff Spring Hotel, Empress Hotel, L'Appartement Le Chateau in Montreal, and many others. It's used everywhere. It's a very popular limestone.
Did it just say Quebec by
you're
itself?
You're going to see it everywhere.
So like the whole city is just built by this limestone of Quebec?
No, unfortunately not. No, L'Appartement Le Chateau in Montreal. I think it must have cut out earlier.
Okay.
But yeah, very important. Fossiliferous. Yes, dear. And apparently, I'm being told here by Wikipedia, 2023, Tyndall Stone was designated as a Global Heritage Stone Resource. The only one of Canadian origin, something that I didn't know was a thing, and I'm going to look. Global Heritage Stone Resource. Designation seeks international recognition of natural stone resources that have achieved widespread utilization in human culture. Interesting.
That is cool.
I will be looking into that later.
I'm saving you for later.
God, the episodes just write themselves as we go.
They really do. Just keep learning things. We love learning.
We love learning.
But yeah, it's a bank. I hate capitalists. There was probably a cool vault. They put a lot of money into this. There was like marble and wood all over the inside of it. And eventually during the merger, I think, they eventually tore this building down and built a much larger one. You still see the CIBC building on the same corner to this day.
That must be what I'm thinking of.
Sorry, Connor?
When I said that, I was like, is this building still standing? That must have been what I was thinking of. Because I remember seeing a building that made out of that colored stone that says bank on it. Or something
it looks very similar. It has a similar design. It does not. The main loss here is the columns. The columns are just gone. They just removed those things. Those big columns aren't there anymore.
Those are cool.
Those are cool. Everyone loves a cool column. But I just wanted to say that before the good numbering system came in Edmonton, where every street and avenue is numbered sequentially from east to west, north to south, and avenues run east to west and streets run north to south, so it's consistent, which is good for navigation. They all had names just like any other place. Jasper and White Ave used to be named Jasper and White Ave, along with every other street. Jasper just happens to be 101st Ave. It's just not named 101st Ave. It's Jasper Ave. Same thing with White, where it's 82nd Ave. Just it's called White Ave. So they used to all have names. That's why it's Jasper and McDougal here. It used to be McDougal Street, I believe, or maybe McDougal Avenue before they renamed it to a street. But I'm not too sure.
We should do what Jim Heller does and name all of our streets after dinosaurs.
Did they not already?
No, but we should
John
do
Heller.
it here.
He wants to do it in
here.
Edmonton.
I mean,
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. Next slide, please. The Corona Hotel. So the one that's actually featured in the book is the one on the right. So this hotel, the one on the left, I should say, built in was destroyed in 1932 by a fire causing a break in a gas line. And from, I think, a newspaper story, let me just see here. One eyewitness claimed a local lawyer who happened to be standing on a manhole cover while watching the fire, was flung into a short orbit by an explosion under the street. Good old lawyer space program there. I assume he's still up there.
Did he live?
No, I'm sure he just came
we can
right
still hear
back
his
down.
voice.
No,
what you get
in
for
space,
being a
no one
lawyer.
can hear you orbiting. But yes, so the one on the left was destroyed, and it was replaced by the one on the right, which is featured in the book. It was a large hotel. Again, main story from this is you're losing out on the architecture, which I don't care about, but I put it in here for posterity's sake. This Corona Hotel gave the name to the LRT station, and the LRT
Could you
station
repeat the
stands
last
where the
sentence
hotel
you
did.
cut out?
Sorry, Connor?
Could you repeat the last sentence? You completely cut out on me.
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
I thought that was
Completely
just
cut
me.
out on your end. It probably picked up. Maybe not. We'll find out.
The recording will be
hotel-
fine, but I don't know what you said.
The hotel is standing where the LRT station is, and it gave its name to the LRT station.
Oh, okay. Cool.
That makes sense.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, it
Walk-
does make sense.
I
Yeah.
walk by there every day.
I don't take the LRT very often, but I
That's-
remember seeing Corona Station.
I used to take.
That's-
That's the station I used to get off of before I realized that there's a station that goes right to my school, so I don't have to walk 4 blocks to get to school in the snow.
Anyway, next slide. Yeah, hey, mansion. This is the new slide. This is McDougal Mansion. Hey, look. John McDougal. Right, that's where I was. I should have mentioned that this was coming up in a later slide. 4th mayor of Edmonton. Had a big mansion built. Big surprise. The mayor's got a lot of money. Well, good for him. I think he started as a teacher and then became 4th mayor. And after his term in office, he started some businesses. When was this mansion being built? No, I'm not adding the dates in between our cuts. 1900, because that wouldn't be funny. Essentially got into the business afterwards of, trading furs, doing adventure outfitting. Outfitting was like a big thing. You had to, dude, I'm going to get you all the supplies you need to go and die in the Canadian wilderness. Fuck yeah, just pay me. And from the book, I have a quote here, trading exploitatively in the land certificates issued to Métis people. I don't know what that means. I didn't dig into it too much. Doesn't sound very good.
Can you repeat
so
that?
yeah, fuck this guy. Trading exploitatively in the land certificates issued to Métis people.
Yeah,
That sounds bad.
that doesn't sound great.
That sounds bad. Sounds not good. Sounds like a prick. So, big mansion. Had a big mansion. Good. I don't know. No, not good for him. Fuck this guy. Sounds like an asshole. Looks like a nice building. Existed on 103rd Street and 100th Ave. And after the Second World War, it was kind of repurposed, used as like a school for kids, and apparently they used it. The YMCA used it for a little bit, and then the YMCA just demolished it. I don't know if they actually replaced it with anything. I forgot to check that. But yeah, cool mansion.
Damn, YMCA is cutthroat.
Next. The what? Sorry.
The YMCA is cutthroat.
Oh, they really are. Hey, look, it's Bobby's thrift store. The M&R Auction House, Mitchell and Reed Auction House. This is a photo of the building as it stood before it was demolished on 95th Street and Jasper Avenue. So there's technically 4 buildings here. It's just, stores, homes on top, little apartment buildings. Started as an auction house for whatever you wanted. I don't know. You want to auction something off? Hey, we got a guy. He's going to do it. He's going to sell your things for you. It's going to be great. That's what auctioning's all about. But,
True.
people needed to auction off their farm equipment in the city less often. So as its later years, it started kind of becoming a culture thing. I forget one. I put a note here that apparently it hosted some stuff for the Fringe. Maybe some like Fringe festival management went on this building. Again, probably should have researched it more.
That's okay.
It's okay.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. You're good.
And then in 2016, it was closed and it was demolished. Again, people were trying to save this building, and actually there's a building just off frame to the left that I maybe should have brought up too, but it wasn't in the book, so I kind of didn't focus on it. This and so this and the next door building, which I forget the name of, were sort of like art hubs for the city, and in 2016 both of them were demolished, and now this is an empty lot. The purpose being it was construction staging for the Valley Line LRT, the newest one.
Yeah.
The construction crews, they needed a place to stage all their stuff, and now it is just a gravel parking lot. Great, more parking. Everyone loves parking in the city. We don't love parking in the city.
That's
it's
very
bad.
anti-art of the city, despite them spending taxpayer money on the giant balls.
That's right.
Hey, don't disrespect the balls.
Hey, I'm
That's
pro
a
balls.
That's a
I'm
part
pro
of
the balls. I
part of
enjoy
our
it.
heritage.
Pro balls.
It's pure Edmonton heritage. Yes, I agree.
I'm a huge fan of the balls.
I can tell.
I'm not. I hate those things, for the record.
Dude.
Nobody take that out of
Sacrilege.
context.
I was into it for the memes, just for the sake of
too.
pissing people off.
Next slide, please. The original Edmonton Courthouse, which I know there's a lot of buildings here. It's the one on the bottom right that looks classical.
This one?
That's
Bottom
left.
right.
Oh, bottom right.
Classical one. Yeah,
one?
the one that
Yeah.
looks like a big official building. That's the courthouse. So that's the original Edmonton Courthouse on the corner of 100th Street and 102nd Ave. That is where the City Center Mall is today.
Oh, is that the one that you and I went to that one time? When you got the book for your dad?
Maybe? Yes. Maybe?
When did you
Is
guys
it-
go to
big-
City
it's the-
Center Mall?
It was
It's the
attached
big
to.
City Center Mall downstairs.
And why that mall?
We were just there.
Because we were downtown. I think we went to the Neon Sign
Yeah, I
Museum
wanted to
that
go to
day.
the Neon
Oh,
Sign
that-
Museum. We
that
were there for
makes
10 seconds, and then
So we were
like,
just
let's go.
chilling downtown.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I've been
it's
to
not very big.
Ethan and I have been there before, but
Yeah, it's not a big.
He was like, "Why were
Neon Sign
you
Museum.
guys there?" I'm sorry.
well, no, it's like it's not very often that people go just for City Center Mall.
I
is
mean,
what I mean.
I am there. Like, I'm at that area just about every day because of where I go
Like
to
when what-
school. So it's not like unusual completely.
No, that's no. I was look, it came off kind of accusatory. I'm sorry, but I was genuinely curious because, like, especially in like West Ed is so close that like
Yeah, I know
most
what you mean.
people are not going to City Center because there's not really anything in it.
Yeah.
There's not even a Lego store.
Is there a Lego
It's not
store?
even
in
a
there?
Lego store.
No, there not There's no toy stores at all in that mall, so I don't go there.
That's tragic.
I'm looking at this photo and I'm realizing we can
I don't
probably
think there
see a
is, at
couple
least.
other buildings. So, so we got the courthouse down the street with the clock tower. Do you see that one, Connor?
This
So on
one
the
here.
left side of the street, yeah, that clock tower. So that's a post office we're going to mention later. Probably in the very background next to you can see the Hotel McDonald again in the background with its nice roofs. Looks like one of
Video
those
listeners,
Nice peaks.
if you're still
Yeah.
paying attention, I'm pointing at it with the laser
That's
pointer.
so that's probably the library in the bottom right. I don't know what this building with the nice classical
Oh, bottom right,
front
no.
on it. Well,
I
down
know
and to
maybe
the
it's
right
nice.
from the McDonald's. Remember where the library was that we mentioned earlier? It was directly across the McDonald's.
This one?
That one, yes. Probably, maybe not the library. I don't know. And then in front of the library, we'll talk about the Tegler building or Tegler building. I think that's the Tegler building. So there's a couple buildings in this that we'll be talking about. But the main one is the courthouse.
That's a
It
really nice
exists.
building.
It
Edmonton
is.
Courthouse.
It's
Cities
cool.
need
I wish
courthouses.
this was still here, actually. What is this building?
That's a great question, Connor. I wasn't sure. I'm not sure. I don't
It's
know.
not. I don't think it's there. At least not the
It's
white.
not.
buildings.
It's definitely not there anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what that
In
is.
fact, a lot of these buildings probably aren't where they are anymore. I know. Yeah.
Ship
yeah,
of
I don't know.
Theseus to the city.
Yeah.
Looks
If
so
you
much more-
replace all the buildings and the people in it, is it the same city?
How many teeth
Yes,
do you
it's
think
in
it
the same
has?
place.
Yes. Yes, it
How many
is.
polygons of teeth?
Because all the
Sorry, this kind of reminded me of.
Polygons.
You know.
you know.
Actually.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's a courthouse. You do laws and shit there. That was the first one. Now we got the nice, the more, the nice brutalism cube on the corner. The more conch they create, the more brutalismer it is.
For the courthouse?
Yeah, the new courthouse is actually. Let me think. So this photo would have been taken where
The courthouse was nice. Or am I thinking of the wrong building? Probably thinking of the wrong building.
It's fine. It's what it looks like on the outside that I'm talking about. This photo was taken from about where City Hall is today, so probably behind and to the left of the photographer is where the modern courthouse is.
Oh,
I think.
I didn't...
I may be wrong about what direct. No, I'm right. Yeah, I'm right.
The Alberta Court of Justice has a 1.3 on Google Maps. Like the
ratings?
Oh, I am
Amazing.
thinking of the wrong building. Yeah.
Did you...
I don't know what building I'm thinking of, but...
Did I ever tell you guys about me and my friend were looking up the Edmonton psych ward, and the reviews were really, really bad. Other than like this one guy was like, service horrible, but the food was good, and that's the only good thing that we found for the reviews. I think it has like a 3-star though, maybe 2.5.
All right. Next slide. The
high
lowest
resolution.
resolution photo that I could possibly find. You can almost make out the words Hub Cigar on that sign. This is Hub Cigar. In 1894, a man named J.J. Dugan built a newsstand in Strathcona right after the Calgary and Edmonton Railway that I mentioned arrived in the city in 1891. And it survived for a very, very, very long time. It just was a newsstand and cigar stand on White Ave, actually. This is actually the first building, I think, on the list that we've talked about south of the river in Strathcona.
Before it was eaten alive? Or after it was eaten alive?
After, yeah, that's right. Well, this was even before it was eaten alive. This building was built when Strathcona was a separate municipality. But yes, this newsstand sold cigars, probably sold a whole bunch of stuff to people arriving into the city on the trains. And yeah, so the building survived until 2005, and then it burnt down. Wah, wah. And so someone tried. So I think it was around 2007. They reopened the Hub Cigar in a different location on Gateway Boulevard, still in the southern half of the city, but not in the same area.
So you can smoke a cigar while you bowl.
Yeah, right. I'm thinking about. I can't. How is the only neuron in your head about Gateway Boulevard about Gateway Lanes?
I also like the mini golf there.
I was gonna say there's also mini golf there. There's also a really good hot pot place down Gateway. I forgot what it's called, but it's very good.
They had one of those little trucks that made ice cream where they put it out on like the little frozen like the table thing. I don't know what it's called. And then they like roll it up and give it to you.
Oh, the roll ice cream.
I got that after I played mini golf a couple years ago. I think that's the only thing I've ever done on Gateway.
I've been to Gateway. I went to Gateway Lanes like twice. I don't remember much.
I've never actually bowled there.
I don't think
I thought the joke would be funnier than mini golf.
Pathetic.
It's actually a pretty cool building.
You've been
It's got laser tag in there.
What did you say was better, mini golf or bowling?
I thought the joke would be funnier with bowling.
Oh. Gotcha. Well, mini golf is still better.
But I've never. Mini golf is. It's a pretty good mini golf.
Mm-hmm.
Next slide. Here's that Tegler building I mentioned. It looks kind of similar. I may be thinking of a different building though. But yes, this was actually I think the tallest building in the city.
Hey, no phones on in class. I don't know whose phone that was.
That wasn't mine. That's a Samsung
mine.
right
Prince
there.
George's.
The teacher's phone is going off.
Prince George's snowfall warning has ended. So yes, this is a department store, office, and offices. Store on the bottom, offices on top. From the illustration in the book, there was a Zellers in the bottom towards the end of its life.
I miss Zellers.
Everyone loves Zellers. Rest in peace.
It wasn't even good. It was just Target, but essentially.
It was Canadian. It had a better nostalgia factor.
I'm just nostalgic for it.
Yeah. Like Target we had when we were younger, but it was there so briefly it barely counted.
We don't even have Target anymore. Yeah, I was only there like twice.
I think we just had just the one location, right? It was where Zellers used to be at the west side.
I think so.
Because the Red Ball... Is the Red Ball still there? Because I remember they were there for, like, at
I
least half of it.
don't remember.
No, the Target has been completely removed for like a Winners, I think.
But the balls, though, is it still there?
Is the Winners?
What do you mean
Is
the
that the same
balls?
place?
The Red Balls, the Target balls.
Yeah.
They were like right
They
in
were
front of the
like
store.
in front of.
balls?
They were in front of it.
I don't think so.
I mean,
I don't think they're still there.
They're
but I
probably
don't
Probably
there,
know
removed
where
them
they
if it
are.
was
I think it
Target
took a long
stuff.
time for it to get removed.
I was there the other day, but I wasn't over on that entrance.
The fuck, man?
No.
You knew this
Yes,
was going to be talked about. I'm just kidding.
I didn't know we were going to talk about the Target balls.
I know. Well, you told me you kind of knew what Ethan was going to do, but I guess you didn't know exactly
No,
what.
I did not.
All
I
I,
found out
showed
what we were
him
doing
was the
last night.
poster I showed you
No, but
in the chat.
This was like before. Me and Connor were hanging out on the weekend, and he was like, I think he's doing it on like Edmonton buildings and stuff, but I don't know.
No, I did. I thought he was doing it on like national parks.
Oh! I misheard. And also, I probably wasn't listening. I didn't want a spoiler.
Look,
Oh
I
my
talked.
God, I gotta
I
close
talked
the door.
about
Hold on.
Transformers a lot.
Yeah,
that day,
there's a
so
lot
I
of
don't expect you to
Transformers.
remember everything.
Yeah, the majority, we were trying to watch Barbie movies. The Barbie movie, the new one, and then like an animated Barbie movie. The majority of both of those were consumed by Connor talking about Transformers, which...
They're so cool.
This,
I had a class about space today, and we saw a picture of the backside of the moon, and my first thought was, damn, that's where Sentinel Prime's ship crashed. In Transformers 3 Dark of the Moon, bad movie. I kind of love that movie.
I believe they were playing, when we were doing Sudokus yesterday, one of our friends started playing end credit music from... Was it Transformers? I know one of them might have been Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Michael Bay one, but I think some of them were the Transformers as well. Ethan, you were there.
What did they play?
I
don't...
was
It was
not there.
Linkin
I was
Park.
not
There was
paying
lots of Linkin
attention to
Park.
what you
Oh,
said.
yeah, it was in Transformers.
last night.
Yeah, last
Okay.
night!
I wasn't there.
I know
did
you
hop
weren't.
on
I know
last
Con-
night,
I
but
know...
I was
Okay.
way after you went to
This
bed.
dude missed out on Sudoku night. I can't believe it.
I know.
I was playing Mario Kart with my sister.
Pathetic. Should have been playing Sudoku. Anyway,
is it
building
expansion?
built
Is it expansion
1911,
work or-
tallest building in Edmonton, tallest building until the CN Tower was built in the 60s.
Where is our CN Tower?
had
I
a-
didn't even know we had a CN Tower.
It's the one that says CN on it. It's down
it
from
says
your
CN on
school.
the
side. Where?
It's on the same street.
You can probably see it from your school.
I mean, most likely.
Actually, Rogers Place is a little in the way, but yes, you can most likely see the big CN logo on top of the building down the street from McEwen.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I only know it's there because anytime Ethan and I go downtown, we make a detour around it. But
That's because every time we've gone downtown, I've went to park in the library parkade, which is on 100th Street, which the end of which has the CN Tower on it.
you stare longingly at that logo. Don't even lie.
I stare with hatred and despise at that logo. Are you kidding me? Next slide.
I've never seen this building before in my life.
There's no way you haven't seen it.
Anyway,
I
don't know
this
what to
isn't
tell you.
actually the building.
Cute.
This is the one building that I couldn't find a picture of. This is just a close representation of the house that was built in, I think it was like 1872. Man named Frederick Sash. I don't know why this is in the book. All it is just it's a nice little prairie farmhouse. It fucking survived very, very long until 1962 in Strathcona, until eventually it was eventually built on top of. But that's it. It's just this house. I don't get why it's in the book. They have almost nothing to say about it other than hey, cool, check out this nice prairie farmhouse. It's like, I get it, dude. There's no history here. It's just some guy's house.
I mean, prairies. Takes up...
Anyway, let's get to the most interesting building on the list. Next slide, please. There we go, baby. Canadian National Railway Station in Edmonton, Alberta. Built on 100th Street and 104th Ave. It is now... was built exactly where the CN Tower is today.
Is that what
it was
CN
constructed...
stands for?
Canadian National?
Yeah.
Yeah, Canadian National sponsored... Well, so the actual CN Tower in Edmonton, I should say... the one in Edmonton was built and owned by CN and operated by CN. All those offices basically helped manage the entire Canadian National network. It was mostly railway offices in that building. They have since moved out and moved all of their operations into a building that is on 127th Street and 97th Ave. No, 97th Street and 127th Ave. Sorry, but it is in the basically the northeast corner of the main yard in the north of the city. That building contains all the RTC for the entirety of Canada. But yeah, so this actual station, was built in 1928. It looks great. It's awesome. It was at the end of a massive yard that was originally built by, hold on, who came in from that way? The Canadian Northern. So originally the Canadian Northern and the Grand Trunk Pacific, when they were building across the country, they were essentially racing each other at the same time. The Canadian Northern got to the city first and built its yard in the downtown areas. The yards were where Rogers Place, MacEwan, this station, like MacEwan University is built on top of where these yards used to be. I think you know this, Ray. I talked to you about this when we went to the Neon Sign Museum that one time, and I noticed there was a tiny little memorial to the yard that used to be here since the land was donated by CN.
I remember that.
There used to be lots of, and you might notice this, especially over by MacEwan. A lot of the buildings in that area, they're made of brick. They're repurposed industrial buildings. A lot of them have loading docks. There used to be a whole bunch of railway tracks all over downtown delivering stuff directly to downtown. And this yard was the main purpose for serving that. But as downtown grew up and eventually all the industry started not being in downtown because people learned about this thing called pollution, didn't really like it. They liked breathing the fresh air instead. So you move all the industry out to the east of the city where the wind only blows from occasionally. And that's where all the railway industry moved. And so Canadian National, realizing that, hey, there's no point to have this station downtown, especially considering also passenger rail is completely dried up due to the fact that there's now a highway across the country. So yeah, we don't really need this station anymore. And yeah, 1966 was demolished and replaced by their big tower. The yard still existed at that time. The Canadian National Tower had a railway station in it when it was constructed. They used, it kind of had an underground station where you would go and board a train, the Canadian heading either east or west. But then that was moved, as well as the entire spur down to downtown. The spur kind of still exists today. There's a station called East Junction and a station called West Junction. Both of them are Ys, which are little 3-point turns for trains. The one on the west, at the end of its spur, has the current Via station, which is just a dead-end track that they have to back into. And the one on the east doesn't actually have a junction anywhere. Well, I guess it does still go north to Fort Saskatchewan, but a lot of the right-of-way, which is to say the actual physical land upon which the track was based and leveled for the railway track, towards the east was given to the LRT construction, which is why the LRT expands off to the northeast in a really weird direction.
Yeah.
It's because they could just very easily drive a track down that way because it basically paralleled where the old track was.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So that was the railway station. The railway station actually, the inside was really cool. It was kind of simple. It's not as grand as certainly some other stations like Toronto Union or Winnipeg's Union Station, or even the Pacific terminus of the CPR, but it was practical and it's gone. No more trains. Next slide,
No more
please.
trains.
Anyway,
That
that's the
makes
most
sense.
detail I'm going to go into on any building in this list, and it was the main.
No personal bias
It was the
involved.
main thing that. Yeah, no, it was the main thing that I looked at when I saw this list. I'm like, ooh, train station.
The rest of this presentation was just an excuse to talk about that train station.
Yeah, no, I figured I should talk about something more than the train station because, yeah, whatever. The Barcelona Theater, White Ave and 109th. It sits where the Shoppers Drug Mart does on White Ave now. Well, it did sit where the Shoppers is now.
I did a
on-
little back alley exchange at that Shoppers Drug Mart
Huh?
last summer.
Do you, listen, as your lawyer, I'm going to advise you to shut the fuck up.
What did you buy?
Kindle. It wasn't anything crazy.
Oh, a Kindle. A Kindle loaded with cocaine.
I mean, what's on that Kindle is truly not pure. So.
Oh, you told me about it. It's
No, okay. I told you about that one. Is not that bad. It's. I'm not gonna argue.
No,
for
but
it.
it's-
I'll talk about it in a future presentation once the 9th part is finished.
Huh?
I won't. I don't know if I should say it. I'll wait. I'll
Just
no.
say it.
You don't have to
Just
say
keep
it.
going.
It's save it as a surprise for later. So
Yeah,
apparently
surprise
there
for
was a 500 seat theater. I'm kind of surprised they were able to fit 500 people in here. Built in 1940, eventually demolished in 87 for, I think something stood before the Shoppers Drug Mart, but essentially, yeah, it was demolished in 87.
Nothing will
And,
stand in the way
yeah,
of Shoppers
it's a
Drug
nice
Mart.
look. That's true. The enemy of us all. It's a nice looking theater building though. It's got a really fancy bit in the middle. I don't know what.
Yeah, it really
I don't
is
know the
building.
architectural terms. I know classical and I know brutalist and I know Art Deco, and it's none of these. So
No, you were
That's what
right.
you
Big
get.
fancy thing in the middle.
that's right. It's got like the bits
Do we
on
have
it.
any architectural
next
friends?
slide,
No,
please.
they can't correct us. People in the comments.
No, fuck 'em.
No.
I would never be friends with an architect.
Not me either.
Homework: build a new building before 10 a.m.
we-
tomorrow.
Do any of us even know an architect?
I don't think.
I hope not.
So.
I think I know an architect.
I mean, I know a architect because there was an episode on WTYP of one, but not
doesn't
like
count.
physically in person.
I didn't think so.
Anyway, here it is, Edmonton High School. It was supposed to be the only high school, so they call it Edmonton High School. They eventually called it Victoria. This is
Oh.
now Victoria School of the Arts.
Vic.
This was the original building that it was in. I've heard there's some pretentious assholes
I
who've
was gonna
gone
say,
here.
what a fucking
101st
school.
and 108th. Yeah, I know. I don't know. I've heard things, and it's mostly just everyone
The
here is
legends are
pretentious
true.
pricks. And it's a school. It needed to expand. The old building was getting old. Apparently had an underground gym and a whole bunch of stuff. Looks very big. It was going to be like the only high school in the city, so I think that's why they designed it to be so big. But it obviously wasn't the only high school in the city because suburban sprawl was invented after the Second World War.
I like the two protruding things.
Like the two towers.
Yeah, yeah, the two towers.
It's like it was
love
like
that
twinned
book.
as well.
Love that
That's
Michael
not
Bay
what I was
poster.
talking about. I was talking about Lord of the Rings.
Oh, two towers.
Oh yeah, no, much better reference to Two Towers.
Can you imagine coming out in 2002? Well, actually, it would have been 2001.
Like
but,
sexuality-wise, or
they
what do you
now-
mean?
Let me finish.
Music-
No, no.
Okay.
But like coming to a studio in the very early 2000s. The first Lord of the Rings was 2001. So, but coming out in 2002 and being like, all right, guys, this movie, it's called The Two Towers.
Amazing.
We'll not
Thank
elaborate
you.
why.
Thank you, Peter Jackson. Very cool. Anyway, yeah, it's a school.
Good
The school
movie.
needed more buildings, so they demolished the original building in 1962. And that's about it. Next slide, please. Another one, which I don't really have a good photo of, just the aftermath. I think, so you can see the tower crane kind of aiming its spotlight down. That set of buildings right there, I think that's a U-Haul logo on the side. Or something. I don't know. Duncan Block was a set of corner shops and apartments on White Ave. Existed for a long time. Again, I don't have the build date. Just give me a second.
Do,
Uh,
do, do,
do,
do,
do,
do,
do, do,
Enjoy that out of sync singing.
1896, very old set of corner shops. Probably some of the first buildings that were built, actually, along White Ave, which just became a major street because it was close to the train station, I think. But yeah, very old buildings, very early buildings. Lost to a fire in, what was it, 2000 something? Oh, I actually did write the dates on this one. I just can't fucking read. Lost to a fire in 2003. There was a family restaurant in there at the time, and now it's a Starbucks, apparently.
Boo.
104th and White Where would that be? Oh yeah, I can. There's probably a Starbucks around there. Yeah, interesting building. Next slide, please. There's the post office I was talking about. You recognize
That's a
the
nice
clock
building.
tower? It's a
I
very
really
nice
like
clock
that
tower.
building.
Downtown post office. More Tyndall stone in the construction. We love Tyndall stone. Clock tower is 40 meters tall. At 100th Street and 101st A Avenue. Hold on. I lost a bit. I was fiddling with the Star Destroyer I mentioned, Connor. I don't know where a bit went. There's two pieces. Oh, I stepped on it. Hell yeah.
What did you say? You totally cut out on my end.
I'm fiddling with the Star Destroyer thing that I mentioned earlier.
Oh, that's okay. You just like kind of like I just heard like just unintelligible noise and then just Star Destroyer and then back to unintelligible noise.
Yeah, hey, post offices, they used to be important, so they used to be downtown. You bring your mail here, they'd get sorted, all that good. Before we move on, I just wanted to
quit
note...
YouTube.
Oh yeah, he did do that.
I just found that out like 2 seconds ago on Twitter.
We've finally gotten to that point I've been predicting where it's like,
Oh,
yeah,
you
cool.
took my MatPat?
Everyone's retiring.
Yeah.
Huh,
It's
that
very
sounds
sad.
nice.
It's not. People retire.
I
I just want to
I know.
note, it's like, hey, cool, wires in the top right, but
Who's gonna cameo in the next Five Nights at Freddy's?
probably
I'll
him,
just-
man.
Hopefully.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He won't be
Wires,
doing
Jas-
YouTube.
That's true.
Jasper, I just found
Have
that
more time.
out. Well, it's okay. Wires, old buildings.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
no, there was cool. Yeah, there was. I just wanted to note, you can kind of see in the building on the right, you can see the wires that are going across because we used to have to put them shits up everywhere. We couldn't bury them. But next slide, please. The old art gallery. The more conch they create, the more brutalismer it is.
This is a block.
It really is. The original
Punch
Edmonton Art
buggy, no
Gallery,
take backs.
and this is where the art. I didn't even notice. I should have censored it. The original art gallery. This one built in 1969. Nice. Yeah. Hey, we did a brutalism, guys. Look at it. It's cool. It's the art gallery. It's where all the art was. I really like the new building that they replaced us with. I don't think we should miss it at all. The new
Kind of
building.
like this building.
Really? You don't.
The new building is nice enough, but
The new building
Kinda
looks
prefer this one.
nice. It actually looks like something interesting. Fuck brutalism. Brutalism.
like
suck my
all the
dick.
like up close to the wall, you probably have such nice textures on like the wall and stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you love the nice textures there.
I can like rub my fingers on that. Touch all the rock.
Yeah, no.
I've never actually been to the art gallery, so
It's
It
I
shows.
should
you know the build you know the building when or it's because this photo again is probably taken from where City Hall stands today. Just off to the right of the frame, like almost 90 degrees to the right, would be where the museum is, and
I know where it
Winston
is.
Churchill Square.
I
So
walk
you
by
know
it when I
where
go to the
so you
museum.
know what the new one looks like.
no, I'm just saying. Yeah, I do. I'm just saying I've never been in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I
again,
know where the
like
building is.
the new one looks sick because it's like they designed it off the Northern Lights. It's big and flowy, and it looks like I don't know, like a folded paper rose or something.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
fuck-
nice enough building, but
That's
Fuck
right.
brutalism. All my homies hate brutalism. Next slide, please.
imagine that nice granite texture on the.
It's not
The walls.
granite. What? That's
You
what do
totally
mean
cut
granite
out, so I
texture?
don't know if you're saying.
What do you mean
something.
granite texture? Whatever. No, stop talking.
cut
Go to
out?
the next slide, Connor.
Hello.
What? Oh, you can't hear
O'Reilly?
us.
Oh, I'm back. Okay.
Oh, you're back.
Hello.
Okay, you can hear us
I'm
now.
back. I can hear you.
I
guys.
called you an idiot. Short form. I called you an idiot. Go to the next slide.
Great, cool. I was just gonna say, I was saying, it's like think of all the nice textures on that, like a nice granite probably.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And then he said,
on
called you
the
an
wall.
idiot.
It's
Look at all those
concrete,
greens.
Connor.
Is it concrete?
It's not granite. It's
well,
it's just concrete.
I want to touch it either way.
God.
Oh fuck! Hang on, I stopped my recording. Again.
Oh my god.
I was clicked onto the window still because
Oh
I
my
was
God.
checking the Discord to see if I like got kicked off or something.
Here's the
it's
photo of
back.
the
It's
trolley
going.
bus that I mentioned. Trolley buses are cool. We should do them more often, especially if you're
Trolley
going to do
buses are
those.
pretty sick.
This is actually probably no, it's not the most modern photo, but it is. This would have been an '80s photo. This is the Edmonton Journal building because newspapers used to need property to do their thing. This building was full of everything you needed to do a newspaper. From
Yeah, I have the Daily
actual
Bugle
newsroom.
Lego set.
Yeah, exactly. You need presses. Eventually, there would be a radio mast, though I don't think that radio mast is in the photo. They do have a satellite dish, so maybe they replaced it. Wait, why do I have that note? Whatever.
I thought that trolley train was a bus.
No, it's a trolley bus.
I didn't know that was
So
a
it's
thing.
it's a bus with wires, and this is again on Jasper Avenue. So it's yeah, this is that. Where am I looking here? Oh yeah, that was my note. Sorry. Yeah, hey, trolley buses. Trolley buses are cool, but also the Edmonton Journal. They used to need property for these kind of things, and fortunately, again, another episode of WTIP that I really like, The Decline of Print Media. You don't need as much office space for these kind of operations anymore. They have since moved. They actually moved to a new building after this. So this photo was taken probably in the mid 80s, just before it was demolished in the 90s. And the Edmonton Journal building is now actually pretty close to the Hotel McDonald's, where the post office building that we mentioned earlier was. But yeah, that's about it. It looks pretty nice, made out of brick.
That is a nice building.
Yeah. Next slide, please.
Oh.
You stopped your recording again, or did
What?
you?
No, I didn't.
Double check.
No.
I don't know. You hit a button and
double
it
check,
didn't
please.
move, so I
No, I
assumed
think I
it
just
wasn't.
didn't actually hit the space bar. I just tapped it, but I didn't actually press it. No, it's still recording on my end.
Okay. Getting close to the end here. Arlington Apartments. This was one of the first apartment buildings in the cities.
God,
The
it
very
looks so
first
beautiful.
large-scale apartment block built in 1909. Unfortunately, here it is being hosed down after a fire, which, very unfortunately, it was like an arson fire.
Oh.
And again, so yeah, this apartment block when it was built. Actually, look at that. That's the like the Land Bureau's office. I know where that building is. That greenhouse on that
green
green
one?
roof on the opposite side of the street. I think.
Is
That
that the
one's
one
still
that's...
100th Ave and 106th.
Is it the one near
Yeah,
the
that sounds
ballpark?
about right. No, not near the ballpark.
Okay, I'm thinking.
So
of
this
a
is up-
different house then.
100 and I think that's the Bureau of like Land Management or something. I don't actually know what it's called, but I think I recognize that green roof on the opposite side of the street. It's still there. But yeah, very unfortunate. There was an arson fire. Again, this building, this very large-scale apartment block, you can see it's like 5 stories, very wide, lots of space in each house, or each, I guess, apartment. It would have been very fancy, especially in 1909, because in 1909 we hadn't invented the suburb yet, right? So rich people still needed to live downtown close to their jobs, because we didn't invent the commute and the suburb and all that shit. So if you were rich, you would go into this nice fancy Arlington apartment. Let me just double check in the book here.
I'm not gonna lie. When you said 1909, my brain went 1990. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not right. And then it clicked.
That's
It's like,
not
oh
right.
no,
Oh,
he
no.
didn't say 1990. He said 1906 or 1909.
Yeah,
You
that's
did
fine.
nothing wrong. I'm just stupid.
It happens to the best of us, dear. But yeah, you need to attract that growing professional class of people working in offices downtown, right? So you've got a marble entrance atrium, built-in oak furnishers, you got a tea room, you got fucking all this kind of fancy stuff to make sure that the tenants you're getting are high class. But after the Second World War, we invented the automobile for everyone and the suburb house for everyone, because no one wants to live next to each other anymore. I fucking hate people. Keep them away from me, right? So eventually it just became another apartment building downtown, and it burnt. Very unfortunate. And our last building on the list, next slide please, the Edmonton Gardens, the second lowest res photo on this presentation. So this is where this photo was taken was where the expo is, in the Northlands. The Edmonton Gardens was originally
the
a
expo.
stock pavilion. Sorry, Connor?
I love the Expo Center.
The Expo Center's great. I love going there for Anime-thon and things. I think I've never gone to.
Is
I know both
I
of
go to
you
the
have.
regular
Phone
Comic
at-
Expo.
Oh, I forgot it was at Expo. No, it's at Jasper. It's at a
Oh,
Anime
right,
Thon
the
got
Shaw
moved
conference.
to
Old Shaw conference.
Thank you. Yeah.
The
But
anime one? I've never been to the anime one. I thought it was
it's
at
the
the
same
regular
as the
Expo Center.
Edmonton Expo, just a little more on the anime side. The same artists I've noticed go to both. So like, if I miss a vendor at Anime Thon, I'll just go to the Edmonton Expo. And actually, I don't know which one's cheaper. I don't know which one.
I have a
which one's
lot
of-
worse. They're all bad.
When I was little, my grandpa would take me to the Expo Center for like the tractor show or whatever it was.
That's amazing.
So I have a lot of childhood nostalgia
I love
of
that.
looking at tractors at the Expo Center.
My dad, a veterinarian, took me to probably the same show.
Oh, hell yeah.
I don't know where you graduated.
Probably because he had to
you
work
two
out.
graduated, but we graduated at the Expo Center.
Oh, we
Where did we
graduated.
graduate?
We did our ceremony, our pomp and circumstance at the old Shaw conference. It's not called Shaw conference anymore. It's Edmonton Conference Center because Shaw didn't renew their sponsorship of it. But
That's-
yes, technically the Shaw conference.
I don't remember like any of that day. I have no idea. I remember
you
I
know-
got chicken fingers for lunch at City Center, and then we watched the B movie and afterwards. And that's all I remember that day.
Saw you guys.
And I was definitely on
saw
time when I
Connor.
picked you up.
Yes, I saw you.
Yes, I actually recently saw that picture of us at the.
I only remember because I had the picture.
Yeah, exactly. The picture. I never saw Ethan, but that's okay.
That's okay.
I didn't really know Ethan that much actually at that point.
I saw you once on the bus at that point in life.
Yeah, I remember that. My friend thought you were very. I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I'm sorry. I don't want to say it.
Say it.
My friend thought you were really hot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear sometimes.
She was seduced
you know?
by that Trey knowledge.
That's just, it's nice to hear sometimes. But yes,
It is.
the Edmonton Gardens. This definitely didn't have an anime-thon or a Comic-Con in it. It was actually originally a stock pavilion where you would go and you'd bring your cattle, I guess. I don't know, your stock, your livestock. You bring it and you'd be like, hey, check out my cool cow. I bet you'd buy this shit up. And then they would. And but eventually after, you stopped kind of bringing cattle into the city because, that's gross. You don't like cow poop everywhere. It was renovated. It's the first indoor arena in the city for hockey, everyone's favorite game. Right, guys?
What's hockey?
We got a baseball fan and a sports ball fan. Yeah, so they renovated it later in about, I think it was 72, and opened for the first season of this little team called the Edmonton Oilers, who were a WHA team, the World Hockey Association, because before the 1980s, there were competing like national hockey leagues, there was the actual National Hockey League at that point with all the more famous teams out east, and then there was also a competing World Hockey Association, which was what the Oilers originally signed on for. But in the 80s, they merged, and it was only after this merger that the Oilers really got their big up in the National Hockey League with the famous players, like Gretzky. I'm sure you've heard the name Gretzky before. But this building never actually saw an NHL game. By that point, they had already built the Northlands Coliseum, Rexall Place, which still stands, even though it is not used anymore. There was a really good set of photos released recently of the interior of that building, currently waiting demolition because we now have the downtown Rogers Place. Which,
I didn't know they were tearing the old one down.
The plan is to eventually demolish Northlands Coliseum, yeah. There were some plans in the works to have Northlands Coliseum be renovated into some kind of, like, local hockey rink.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were doing with it.
Business center. Like, you remember what I said about the Maple Leaf Gardens in the Heritage Minute, how they renovated that? That is now an actual hockey rink and a couple of shops downtown. I think the plan was something similar. It's not going to come to fruition. I think the plan currently is to tear the building down.
Damn, that actually sucks. I like
It
that.
does, yeah.
Northlands Place. I have
Looks
actually,
like
obviously I'm kidding. Like I've been to hockey games before, and they were always at that place when I was little.
Don't actually know where.
And yeah, I liked that place. It was cool.
It was nice. It was made of a lot of concrete, like these buildings are. We got Rogers Place now, and hey, little secret: if you want to revitalize your downtown, start building things downtown and build good transit options to get there, like the city has been doing. It's a very good thing. Like if you like getting people downtown, you're going to start getting businesses there. Of course, it means you're also going to have the side effect of kicking the people who were hanging out of downtown, like the city currently is doing.
Yeah.
Don't do that unless you have a plan to properly relocate them, which we don't. Not getting into the housing crisis right now at this minute, but yes, that was the final building. On to the final slide. And so, I kind of mentioned this at the start that I was going to talk about this at the end. There's still cool buildings out there, right? I mean, I don't think we have any sentimentalism for many of the buildings on this list because I'm pretty sure they were all demolished before most of us had many conscious thoughts. But here's not exactly a building, but my favorite structure in the entire city has to be the High Level Bridge. I think it's awesome. I think that the fact that it was built in 1905 with 3 tracks on top, 2 for trolleys, 1 for mainline trains, an actual road deck and pedestrian pathways on it, an amazing feat of engineering by the CPR. I think it's a really cool structure, and I got this photo from a article by the CBC, talking about how they're working on revitalizing the bridge and putting the money into actually saving the bridge, where, we talked about in a couple of these buildings, the heritage efforts that failed. Now you're doing good heritage efforts. And I mean, one of the buildings, you can see it in the background, the legislature getting its renovation that it was undergoing for the past couple of years.
Right.
It got its renovation too. There's buildings out there worth saving, and they're important and they're useful. And hey, you may have to pay to maintain it, but building a new one, it's probably going to be shit anyway. Shit made of plastic or something.
I'm becoming they tear down the Glen Rose Museum.
Dude, what are they even using it for?
Nothing, and that makes me angry. I
I
love that old museum.
You should go and
It
buy
is a
it
pretty
then.
nice place.
It's so full of asbestos, but that's why they moved buildings. Also, they needed more storage space.
That's
But
fair.
they should have just kept 2 museums. They should have left all the exhibits together.
I don't even think I've heard of the Glen Rose Museum. I'm so sorry.
It's just the old
Isn't
Ram.
it Glenora location?
Glenora.
Is it Glenora? I thought it was Glen Rose.
It
Wait,
really could be.
I think you're right, actually.
I think it's Glenora, but
Glen something. I always just call it the old
Just the
Glen.
Glen. Just the
Glen.
Glen. The Glen building.
My buddy Glenn.
I do like on the side that faces 102nd Street when you're driving past the Glenora location. There's like this really weird like statue that looks kind of fucking.
Oh, yeah, I know.
How do I describe it? The weird statue of the family.
No.
Yeah.
That's that gives me white supremacist vibes every time I see it. And
That's
it's
fair
really
enough.
it really fucking puts me on edge.
Bourgeoisie white family.
Yeah. But here that's where I ended. Eventually there'll be a podcast episode talking about all the cool old buildings that are still alive that you can go and see, as opposed to all the cool old buildings that are lost.
Put the Glenora Museum on.
The Glen Museum.
We'll talk about it, dear. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Maybe you can put a slide in for that one. But I think my next one's going to be more heritage minutes. I'm going to do a survey of 5 people. It's like, name me 10 heritage minutes. Go and see if they pick ones that I didn't do on the last episode, and see if I can call those the most popular with my sample size of 5.
Very small sample size.
Who are you gonna ask?
I was probably just going to throw that in one of the group chats.
Do it in
fair
the Jorts one.
Which I should say, neither of you, I would appreciate if you didn't answer. That would be that would put some bias, but it would also reduce my sample size to 3.
I'm just gonna say the Joseph Burr one.
Which will be excluded. But
I think
anyway.
after the episode, the one that I found the most I figured that I actually have definitely seen and definitely remember is the Louis Riel one, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
Roblox oof and everything.
yeah.
Oh my god, I hate that.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That's my legacy.
Oh lord.
Anyway, hey,
go back and listen to the Heritage Museum episode.
Yeah, now that you're done this one, we've got more
Minutes.
episodes. Thank you so much for listening to Don't Even Get Me Started, podcast about presentations about stuff.
Good job. Very proud of you.
I will not be found anywhere else, to be honest. Connor has his other YouTube channels, which have more subscribers than this one. So
That's true.
And that's okay.
Like CJSiev. Ray has
And
their
CJSiev
art.
too. And the
And
Boys and
CJSiev
CJSiev,
too.
very cool podcast.
Yeah, awesome.
Plug all that shit.
Yeah, so subscribe. Thank you. Fuck off. Let me stop recording.
Don't come back.